I'm actually scared of lizards to the extent that I even avoid talking about them. But there's a short, almost absurd little story that I heard recently, and it stuck with me. So there's this little lizard sitting on a roof beam. All the other lizards are leaving for the weekend. They're heading to parties and bars, and they call out to him, "Come with us." And the lizard replies, "I cannot. I'm holding this roof up." Now, of course, he isn't holding the roof up. The roof doesn't need the lizard. But in its mind, the whole structure would collapse without him. And as silly as that sounds, that's us sometimes. Whether in work or in investing, even in our families, we start believing we are the one thing holding the whole thing together. The company will fail without us. The market needs our opinions. Our family cannot function unless we personally orchestrate every detail. And slowly, without realizing it, our ego inflates until our sense of self importance becomes, well, a little comical. But the problem with believing you're holding the roof up is that it's exhausting. You carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You overwork, you overthink, you overcontrol. And you cannot imagine stepping away because in your mind, what if it all falls apart? Now, the truth is, it won't. The world spins perfectly well without any one of us. Markets open and close, whether we trade or not. Companies existed long before we joined and will continue long after we've gone. Families adapt. Even friends carry on. Life doesn't grind to a halt just because we took a step back. And knowing that is not depressing. In fact, it's liberating. Because once you realize you're not holding the roof up, you can start living with lightness instead of heaviness. You see, ego clings to us. Ego needs control. Ego says, I'm important because I'm needed. But lightness lets go. Lightness trusts that the roof will hold. Lightness says, I'm important because I'm present. That's the real inner game, the game beneath the game. Now, the outer game is about outcomes, it's about positions, about recognition, but the inner game is about how you carry yourself through the process. Can you show up fully? Can you do your work well and yet not chain your identity to being the one holding everything together? I've seen this so many times in investing. Ego shows up as desperate need to be right. It's refusing to sell a stock because I can't be wrong about this. It's defending a bad decision because your identity is tied to it. But lightness is the ability to say, I was wrong, without self-destruction, to cut losses without self-loathing, to let go of a narrative you've built because when the facts change, you need to change your mind. The legendary investor Howard Marks once said, you cannot control the outcome, but you can always control how you play the hand. And lightness is exactly that, playing the hand well without needing to tattoo your win or loss record into your identity. And it's not just about investing. In life, lightness might mean allowing others to take charge sometimes, letting your children make mistakes without rushing in to hold the roof up, taking a break without guilt, trusting that your presence, your kindness, and your attention, these matter far more than your control. So how do we move from ego to lightness? That's a big question. But I think it begins with catching the lizard moment, that instant when you feel indispensable. Just pause and ask yourself, am I really holding the roof up or am I just afraid to let go? Sometimes you just need to test your absence. Step away from something small and watch the world adapt. It's a surprisingly powerful reminder that the roof will hold. And maybe the biggest shift is detaching your identity from your role. You are not your job title. You're not your investment thesis. You're not your public image. You are just you. The best players in any field play the game for the sake of the game, not for the record books. They don't do it for medals, for illusion of holding up some roof. And the same is true in life. So the next time you find yourself clinging tightly, convinced that everything rests on you, your shoulders, remember the lizard. The roof will hold. It always does. The question is, do you really want to spend your life being that tense, overworked reptile clinging to the beam, or the one out there at the party, laughing, living, and playing lightly? Thank you so much for your time.